So now it is time to turn our attention to membership and what it means to be a member of the United Methodist Church. One of the things I found when I came out here from Arkansas is that membership in the church is not discussed much at all. Most churches have practically stopped keeping up with the membership rolls. I had a district superintendent laugh one time and tell me that he can put me in a church and within 2 years the membership of that church is half what it was when I started. Now that's not because I ran people off, but it was because one of the first things I did was go to the membership rolls and start to clean them up. I've gone into churches where people were on the active member roll and they'd be dead for 15 years. Now, College Church, this church, your previous pastors have done a really good job of keeping up with that. And when I got here, there already was another list of people that we did readings on, and we'll talk about the readings later to move them to inactive status. But there really is such a thing as a church membership roll. And while I don't believe in making a real distinction between anyone that considers this their church and someone that's actually on the rolls as a member, there are different ways that we classify members and other people that worship in our church. And one of the broadest classifications that we make is what we call a constituent. Constituents don't necessarily have their name on the dotted line, but this is their church and they are certainly members of the congregation. So let's get some kind of definition of member. For that matter, let's define what a church is. According to the discipline, the church is a gathering of God's diverse people into a connected body. When those people were gathered in the time of John Wesley, church membership usually meant membership in the Anglican Church, with those and others gathered in bands and classes and societies. And those were originally gathered together for mutual support in spiritual matters, as well as to provide a means with which to strengthen and assist the Church of England. So not all people that were members of the Church of England were members of John Wesley's societies, but most of the people that were members of John Wesley's societies were members in the Church of England. Through the 18th and 19th centuries, the local church had little recognition as a significant avenue for making disciples or supportive members of the congregation. The local church itself just wasn't considered as a vital part of ministry like it is today. And it wasn't until the early 20th century that the local church then began to be seen as vital and significant within the Methodist and then the United Methodist connectional system. Even now, though the discipline uses the terms local church and congregation only in a vague manner, with the designation of where a pastor is assigned. They don't say pastors are assigned to churches. They don't say pastors are assigned to congregations. The discipline says that pastors are assigned to a charge, and the charge is quite often a church, but it can be a couple or three or more churches. Now, the United Methodist Church places no restrictions on participation in worship and sacraments and membership in the church. However, membership of the local church is at the discretion of the pastor in charge. That means the pastor is expected to examine people that wish to become members of the church to make sure that they know what being a member is. Currently, membership in the United Methodist Church is described and categorized in several different ways. Now, there's a couple of primary categories we'll talk about. The first one is called the baptized membership. Now, that is all the people who have received Christian baptism either in the local congregation, but it can also include those that received Christian baptism elsewhere and had that baptized membership transferred to the local United Methodist Church. Now that contrasts with what we call professing membership. Now, professing members have received Christian baptism and made a profession of faith in the local church as a part of the baptismal covenant. That means that an adult that comes in to be baptized and join the church, then that person will be baptized, then they will make a profession of faith, and then they will be considered a professing member. Now, when you've got children, because in the United Methodist Church, we baptize children, and in that case, the baptismal vows are made on their behalf as a confirmand. So they are then baptized members until they go through some kind of confirmational training, and then they come forward and profess their faith and accept the vows that were made on their behalf at their baptism, and then those people become professing members. Now, the United Methodist Church considers baptism to be the initiation and incorporation into the body of Christ. Those accepted into membership in any local United Methodist Church are considered to be members of all United Methodist churches, with the local church accepting that person on behalf of the United Methodist Church. So the vows that the congregation take then, and the congregation does take vows in situations like this. In any time there's a baptism, you will notice I will give vows to the congregation about how are you going to take care of this person, and you will vow to provide support and help to that person. But if you do that, you are doing so on behalf of all the congregations in the United Methodist Church. After baptism, it then is the responsibility and duty of the pastor and the congregation and any subsequent congregations and pastors to nurture and instruct that new member. If the one baptized is an infant, at least one of the parents or the sponsors should be members of a Christian church. Now, the profession of faith is made at the baptism ceremony unless the one being baptized is an infant and the vows are taken on their behalf. Now, the vows that new professing members take are printed in the Discipline, the United Methodist Hymnal, and in the Book of Worship. However, members have an obligation to participate in the communal life of the church in ways that edify all the believers, as well as furthering their own progression as disciples. All members are believed to have entered at their baptism into a sacred covenant of ministry to be a servant on mission in the local and worldwide communities. Okay, beyond baptized and professing members of the church, there are two other membership classifications that we don't use very much. One of them is an affiliate membership. Now, that is anyone holding professing membership of another United Methodist Church or some of the churches with which we have agreements with. People that have that professing membership somewhere else, but they're residing in the vicinity temporarily, they may be accepted as an affiliate member. Now, what that means is that the pastor of the other church needs to be notified, and then the affiliate member can participate fully in the activities in the committees, even in the leadership of the church, holding membership on different committees and stuff at the local church level. The only thing they can't do is to be assigned like as a delegate to annual conference or on any of the district or conference committees representing the church that they're attending, because their original professing membership remains with the other church. Now, there is one more classification of membership. Again, it's something we don't use very often. It's called an associate membership. That's anyone holding membership in another denomination. they can be accepted as an associate member, and they can have actually the same participation as an affiliate member, except that they can't be delegate to annual conference or go on a district or conference board. And the associate member then also may not be a voting member of the church council. So then now we've got 4 basic classifications. You have a baptized member who has been baptized but has not professed their faith. Then we have the professing members who have been baptized and then have professed their faith, either directly after their baptism if they're an adult, or later after some kind of confirmation class if they were baptized as a child. And then we've got the 2 other memberships that are not they're not strictly within the local United Methodist Church. Now, the affiliate membership is anyone holding professing membership of a United Methodist Church or affiliated church and then residing in the vicinity temporarily. They may be accepted as an affiliate member. Then you've got the associate membership, who would actually come from another denomination. So those are the 4 classifications of membership in the church. Now let's talk just a minute about termination of membership. This is how we get people on the rolls. How is it that names are actually removed from the rolls? Now, the language of the discipline uses terms like withdrawal and termination, but it's generally considered that members should be thought of as having been moved to inactive status, because the restoration of professing membership is always available, usually simply by a reaffirmation of those professing vows of membership. Now, that being said, moving someone from the rolls of membership can be done in a few ways. One common way is transfer to another United Methodist Church. People that move will want to transfer their membership to the United Methodist Church where they are moving, and there are official forms for an organized transfer. Although their use is inconsistent, we have the forms, and we have used the forms before, but they usually don't work out too well. We usually don't get them back when we send them out. Now, there's transfer to another denomination, and there are also forms for that too. Most other denominations use a simple letter to inform the previous church that the member wishes to transfer their membership. Usually this church would just get a letter from the other church saying so-and-so has requested a transfer of their membership, and then we send them a letter back, but there is an official form that we don't hardly ever use. Another way that the names can be taken off the rolls is by withdrawal. Now, this can be done by a member who wishes to terminate their membership with the church without transferring to another church. But another way we use the term withdrawal is there are people that maybe go join another church and then don't tell us. And we find out later, and we don't get a letter or anything. And the people that just simply leave and go join another church without notice are considered to have been withdrawn, to have withdrawn their name from the membership. And then we've got removal. United Methodist Church members are subject to removal by a court appointed by the district superintendent, who would be the presiding officer, unless the person requested a change of venue. Any person charged with immorality or crime, the term then is dissemination of doctrines contrary to the established standards of the doctrine of the United Methodist Church. That's one of the things listed. And then there are other charges. Anybody that have those kind of charges brought have the option of withdrawal from membership before the procedures begin. Now, this can happen to lay people. Although in almost 40 years in church leadership, I've never seen it actually happen. But it can also happen to pastors, and I have known pastors that were removed under charges. And I have been in clergy sessions at annual conference where charges against a pastor were brought. One of the interesting things about being a local church pastor, though, is that when that happens, if they bring up a charge against a pastor, just as soon as they bring the charge, all the local church pastors are rounded up and shuffled out into the hallway while the elders and the deacons discuss it and vote on what to do, because I guess they don't want us hearing their dirty laundry. In any case, if the layperson or the pastor withdraws before they are officially judged on some matter, the person's record then is recorded as having withdrawn under charges. Now, the final way, and the way we do it more often than probably any other time, is called removal by charge conference action. Now, that sounds really nasty, but it's not. It is the responsibility of the pastor, assisted by the administrative council and the membership secretary, to make attempts to contact and bring back into the fellowship any professing member that ceases to be actively involved in the church. Those members that move away are encouraged to transfer their membership to a United Methodist Church near to their location. But if we don't know if they moved or not, if a professing member does not respond to attempts at contact, or any way to contact that person is not available, we don't have an address or phone number for them anymore, and we don't know that they have joined another church anywhere else, we simply can't find them anymore, that person's name may be moved from the membership rolls to an inactive.